This week's parasha discusses the sanctuary, the structure which the Israelites built for God in the wilderness. This parasha, Terumah, delineates every furnishing, every vessel, everything that would be built in this beautiful Mishkan to God. It's a parasha where we're considering things like architecture, decor, furnishings, what it means to build a home for God. And it makes us think about our own homes and what we have in our homes, what we feel is unique about each of our homes and how it expresses who we are. I'd like to share two ideas about this Mishkan, and maybe as I'm talking you can think about your own homes or our own synagogue, our own community buildings. The first is that the parsha emphasizes the idea of Terumah right at the beginning. Terumah is a gift, is the gift actually that all the people of Israel contributed, materials that they gave toward the building of the Mishkan. Terumah comes from the word laharim, to raise up, and so in a way this was a way to elevate something that someone possessed, was to give it to this common purpose, to this spiritual purpose. And the Terumah dynamic meant that each and every person had a piece of themselves, so to speak, quite physically, a piece of who they were in that Mishkan, in the tabernacle. The second thing I wanted to focus on is to think about the furnishings that were in the house of God. There are many things that sort of reflect the kinds of furnishings you and I have in our homes. So there's a shulchan, the table where the showbreads were. There's the mizbeach, where the altar where the meat was burned for the sacrifices. There's a mizbach also of incense, an altar that would make the place smell nice. There's a kior for washing, the hand washing that the kohanim, that the priests would do as part of their service. These are things that actually very much line up with the homes that we live in. Even the ark, the holy ark, was in the inner sanctum, the holy of holies, almost like the way we have our innermost areas of our house, like our bedroom or the places that we reside in our most private moments. And that too was reflected in the structure of the Mishkan. But there's one furnishing that we have in our homes that did not appear in the Mishkan, and that is a chair. There were no chairs in the tabernacle, in the Mishkan, in this house for God. And in fact, when you think about architecture and you read about design and so on, a chair is something that captures the imagination of designers and architects throughout many centuries. The way that one designs a chair is often the way that one would express new ideas in architecture or in design, or experiment with new materials. It was all about the chair as an expression of human creativity. But the Mishkan has no chair, because God has no body, because this actually is not a house for a human being to reside in. This is a house for God. And the lack of a chair in the Mishkan is almost perhaps a hint at the need for our presence in the Mishkan. Almost to complete God's presence in the world is to think about, where do we reside? Where do we sit down and make ourselves at home? And so in that way, perhaps the house of God is making us think about the differences and also the similarities or the connections between this sacred house and our own homes. Almost as if the sacred house itself isn't complete without our own homes also taking part in that service, the place where we sit, where we reside, not where God resides. And I think both of these ideas come together, the idea of Terumah, that everyone contributes, and the idea of which furnishing was not present, that the chair is not present, makes us think of ourselves and where we sit. And I think both of these can help us consider how do we participate in our collective homes, in our private homes, but also in our communal settings. How does everyone feel represented by participating in the life of our synagogue, by contributing their skills or their resources to this house of God, to this holy place that we all hold very dear? Shabbat Shalom.